You are now plugged into the Social Plug Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? You are plugged into the Social Plug Podcast, where we are connecting you to level up. Today's episode sponsor is Party People Photo Booth. They are specialists in bringing fun and memories to any corporate or private event with their award-winning photo booths and customer service. You can find them in the San Antonio area and on all social media platforms and at pppbooth.com. Today's going to be a fun show, an energetic show. We got special guests who are a dynamic duo. So I personally know these guys. These guys are all over the place. Social media, they're out dancing and enjoying life, helping people. So let me introduce MC Jesse E.
Boom.
That man right there with the beautiful hair. And then we got this guy right here, DJ Jerry.
Come on.
So we got a couple of engineers today to introduce. We got J-Rock behind the scenes. What's going on, J-Rock? How you doing?
Jay Rizzy.
And then we got the other engineer, Engineer Bravo, bad boy Ben Marungo. What's going on, Ben? How are you?
Chico Malo.
Chico Malo. So there's a lot of dynamic duos that we know in history. All right. So some that come to mind, we got Sonny and Cher, maybe.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We might have Cheech and Chong.
Hey,
there you go.
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. We got Bonnie and Clyde.
Boom.
What do you guys know about Bonnie and Clyde?
Bonnie and Clyde?
That's before my time.
There were some bank robbers, I believe.
Yes.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry and
Come on now.
Jordan and Pippen.
Hey.
Jordan and Pip. What about Bert and Ernie?
Bert and Ernie for sure.
Jay-Z and Beyonce?
Hey, Beyonce, what about Beavis and Butthead?
Beavis and Butthead.
Hey. So
Luke Bryan.
So with that being said, Luke Bryan
looks just like Butthead. A spitting image of each other.
Luke Bryan. I thought you meant like
Luke
Luke
and Bryan.
Bryan. I'm like, who the hell is Luke and Bryan?
So gentlemen, welcome to the show. So we've been knowing each other for a while now.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You guys are a very intriguing duo. You guys, you're DJs, you're insurance guys.
Yep.
And you're philanthropists. That means you give back to the community.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a big word, philanthropist.
It is.
I don't
can't
think
spell
J-Rock
it,
can,
but I do
can
it.
spell it or pronounce that.
No.
J-Rock, can you pronounce?
What was it? Philanthropist?
Philanthropist.
Philanthropist? Starts with an F. Oh, it's an F. I thought it was a PH.
So it means giving back to the community, and that's what you guys do. You guys do a great job
Yeah.
about
Thank you.
giving back. So let's talk about you guys, man.
Mhm.
I'm always bragging on you guys. Your music is hot.
Yeah, thank you.
Heck yeah,
Or
man.
your DJ music is hot because you guys don't create your own music. Maybe you do.
No.
Who knows? Maybe in the shower. Who knows?
Not even.
So
Isn't that a beat maker?
I
So,
can beat make, yes.
we'll start off
been
with
over
the
here?
MC.
Yes.
Jesse, what's going on, my friend?
Man, what's up, everybody? How's everybody? I'm so glad to be here. I'm just pumped for Social Plug Media SPM, man.
Come on.
This is the way to go. Yes. What's up? Talk to me.
So I mentioned that you're all over the place, man.
Mhm.
You and this guy.
Yeah.
So what drives you, man, to be out there always just showing your face, showing your brand? Just what freaking motivates you, my man?
I think for me, the number one motivation that I have is I dislike the idea of needing to be 65 plus to retire. I don't like it. I won't do it. So for me, I'm like, I got to push hard now so I can enjoy life earlier than 65 or 70, right?
So how are you pushing hard?
I'm just anywhere I can be as far as making income, making connections. That's where I want to be. I want to network all over the place where people think of a DJ, it's boom, synonymous with that DJ. Like you got to get that DJ. If you don't, then you're cutting yourself short. Even with life insurance, man, I want to be everywhere and anywhere, and I just want to grind so hard now. That way, I don't have to worry about finances too much later. So that's why I push so hard, man. I really don't want to be. And nothing against being 65 or 70 and retiring, but
Hey,
man,
I'm almost there. So
yeah, you're about 4 years away.
about 4 years.
No,
So-
but honestly, I feel retired. Actually,
Yeah.
I feel like Jerry and I push so hard because we want to be our own bosses. Nobody tells us what to do. If we want to go to Destin, Florida for 5 days, or we want to go to Louisiana, or even out of the country, we just will.
I love that, man.
And that's what we do this for. That's what makes everything worth it. The grind, and I know DJing looks glamorous and fabulous, but it's a lot of hard work, especially when we do the gigs, we have to get all the equipment out of the, container or where we have it stored, put it in our vehicles, go to the gig, set up, do the gig, and then reverse the process backwards. It's a lot of setup. So even if we're only DJing for 4 hours, it ends up being 6.5 hours at least sometimes.
I think we got some footage of you.
Yeah.
J-Rock might have some footage somewhere in the archives.
I'll definitely get that pulled up. But as I'm getting pulled that up right now, guys, what is it that you do? I know Johnny, I mentioned like at least Jesse right now. We'll get back to Jerry. But like, what is it that you do, Jesse? What is all that you do? What motivates you? I mean, obviously you have what motivates you, but like, what is all that you do?
I do life insurance. I'm a broker for sure. So, okay. And then we do the DJ business. And then also we do the real estate business. We have a partner real estate company called Passion Property Management, where our goal is to have a bunch of units where we're just bringing in rental income, or maybe even flipping. But we got blessed with that venture, and it's been a grind. It's been a tough start, but we're finally getting to the point where we're like, okay, maybe we can actually make some money off this eventually.
Man, I can kind of see the bags under your eyes there.
Man, it's tiresome. Making all the calls and stuff like that, Well, and actually, the reason we got into that is because we wanted to do affordable housing, especially in New Braunfels, where, man, if you have $250,000 to your name where you can get out a loan, basically, back in the day, in the late 90s, you could have a nice house in New Braunfels. Now that's like a down payment, it seems like. And everything is just skyrocketed as far as the pricing. So Jerry and I are like, man, what happens if we get these double wides, make them beautiful, make them homes, and either I flip them or rent them out for affordable housing, so people are not having to pay, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 plus for a house now in New Braunfels area.
Yeah. I like that. So let me introduce Jerry here.
Boom.
What's going on, my friend?
Well, what's up, man? Dude, super stoked, excited to be on here and doing this with friends, just like we talked about.
Familia.
Man, bringing it to life.
Yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely, man. So you're just like your guy here. You guys are sidekicks to each other.
Better looking though.
Better looking, but hey,
let me take a look.
we're actually cousins.
Maybe it's the lighting.
The cousins part.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, I got that video pulled up, so let's check out this video real quick.
Before we get to Jerry.
So, all right. So this was Cinco de Mayo, guys, and we captured this. I think this was actually my footage here when I was on stage behind him. Yeah. I think the beauty of what this is people don't understand. Like, you see it from obviously where you're at at these events, but to see it on our side and to see just all the way the back of the room, everybody partying.
So I want to say something real quick. So check out the crowd. Okay. Check out the energy. Check out how they respond to his energy, and just the whole vibe. Check it out.
All right, let's see. You got to give my people some hugs there. Let's see. I think this is when the Bang energy drink kicked in.
Is this where the energy kicks in? Oh, there it is. Look at this forward.
Hey. Man, I would have broken an ankle there.
I can't believe I can still do that. But I feed off people's energy, so if they're dancing, I'm dancing. Believe it.
That's what I question is, dude. Is like, how do you have all this energy, Jesse? And you don't even drink.
No, man.
You don't even drink.
He barely even sleeps.
Yeah. Some people ask me, well, when do you sleep? And I was like, I sleep when I blink, and I just took a nap.
A bunch of naps. 1,000 naps a day.
No, honestly, I've been like that my whole life. My parents can tell you, man. I usually just need about 4 hours, and I'm good for the whole day, man. I take a lot of naps, but I really don't sleep too much.
You do the 5-hour energy drinks or the little capsules or anything like that?
No, I never. I don't do coffee. I don't do any of that. The only thing I will do is I do one Bang energy drink a day.
Okay.
Usually, but no, I don't ever drink coffee. Never. No alcohol. I'm just happy on life, man. Just blessed. I feel blessed.
There you go.
Jerry, what do you got?
Man, so so I wanted to share this. So I do some keynote speaking as well, and a part of one of the speeches that I talk to aspiring entrepreneurs, what I call the other Jerrys out in the world, and I say, hey, now I remember the first time I went on a field trip as a kid in elementary school. And we had gone on this field trip to dig up some dinosaur bones. And it was in that moment, for the first time, I was like, oh, that's what I want to become. I want to be a
dinosaur?
No. Step brothers. But I am a beast. Hey, but a paleontologist.
Okay.
And the thing was, I was like, man, what is it about that I enjoy? And it was just like, I love discovering creative freedom, and doing something that's unconventional. So that's always been in me. And as you were kind of talking about a little bit of background, how is it that when people ask me that question, like, what do you do, Jerry? And honestly, like, not to be egotistical, but I'm like, whatever I want. Isn't that the way life should be? But really, quite honestly, at the core, I love being creative. I've always been a natural marketer, love being a student, and I love teaching as well. So
What do you? Oh, I'm sorry.
I love being able to do that in a lot of different ways.
What do you mean by student, though, Jerry? Like, you're obviously you have these businesses that you own. So how are you still a student?
Man, in a lot of different ways. And I can remember growing up, or let's say being in high school in different settings. And I see it still today now because people are like, okay, so you're DJ Jerry, you're up on a stage, you can be in front of people. I'm one of those weird people that like public speaking. And then yet you put me in certain settings, I'm like the quietest person in the room. Not very charismatic, and I'm just zoned in. I'm very observant, but it's things like that. I just love, like, studying people, finding interest in whatever I'm doing or wherever I'm at. And it's just like, it's such a weird, like, what they call ambiverts. It's like you're introverted in some environments, you're extroverted in others. So
it's just situational.
It is.
So you enjoy being a public speaker. A lot of people are scared shitless of getting on stage and speaking to 5 people, let alone 100.
Yeah, it's actually number one phobia in the world.
Yeah.
Well, one of the top phobias, at least.
So how do you prepare, or how did you progress? Because obviously the problem, maybe the first time you were a little nervous, like, oh, butterflies. I mean, you probably still get that today. I think everybody does. If you're not human, or if you're not nervous, you're not human.
Yeah.
So what prepares you? What advice can you give to people who are afraid of public speaking?
For me, I think at any level, and you can apply this, is sometimes in our mind, we just make things more complicated than they actually are. And so I always apply some very simple techniques, whether I learn them firsthand or just through experience from failure. One is, like, one thing that we talk about being on stage, whether it's as a DJ or talking with people, is that you're a mirror. They're going to mirror your energy, your body language. So I apply simple things like an acronym called SEE: smile, enthusiasm, eye contact. Even like I'm doing now, if you're in a room talking with people, panning the room from left to right, right to left, to make sure I get everybody's engagement. And then something I love that Jesse always reminds me about, and I've applied more and more when I'm speaking on stage, is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. A lot of people get up on a stage, start talking, start sharing, or even MCs on the stage, and they just speak so fast you cannot understand anything that they are saying.
Right.
And like I said, just being a student, I love watching other podcasts, watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I'm just being a copycat. Quite honestly, one thing I say is, God gave you eyes, plagiarize. So,
Nice. There you go. That's a good one.
the greats out there are just a copy of someone else before them, really.
So I know there's an old a wives' tale or something. When people go and give a speech, they say, picture everybody in underwear.
Yeah.
Are you picturing us in underwear right now, Jerry?
That's exactly what Ben just said. Ben goes, "You got to picture everybody naked.
Yeah.
You got to picture everybody
See,
naked."
Ben's next level. Ben's picturing us naked right now.
Here's the thing.
All right.
We're all friends here, so I don't have to picture y'all naked.
Oh, okay.
What I do, believe it or not, I look when I first started, I looked at their foreheads, never the eyeballs. I always look at the foreheads when I first started. So that made it real easy for me, because you got to remember, I was in New Orleans speaking in clubs for men every day of my life. I mean, 5-6 days a week for 16 years straight. So that's what helped me, is just, I would never look in their eyes. I would just look right above their eyebrows pretty much. But like Jerry just said, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Just go slow. You can process your thoughts, because you got to remember, you don't want to stutter, or you don't want to say the wrong thing, right? Because you got to remember, sometimes you're announcing this, and then you go to a different environment, and it's a completely different environment, and then your brain might remember the gig you did the night before. Or whenever I used to be a host, I'd be like, give it up for this band called, this name. And then when they were done, it was another band. How do I remember everything? So I made a few mistakes at first, calling the bands the wrong names, and everybody would be like, hey, but I was like, hey, I'm just starting. Bear with me, puto.
Bear with me.
But,
Hey, but
I got it.
I'll say this, and one of the things that I love is because now, like you mentioned, Johnny, you're like, do you get nervous? The nerves are there to a sense, but I think ultimately the reason people fear public speaking, performing, is because they're so concerned, like, what other people going to think?
Or how am I going to mess up? Or where am I going to mess up? If you're thinking about that, you're going to mess up.
And then what are they going to think when I mess up or whatever? And here's the thing is, and I've had to grow beyond that, is that you just got to stop giving a shit about what people think.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Damn right.
Seriously. And when you do, man, you're not up there nervous about because you're like, I
That's
messed up.
mental freedom.
I think that's a lot of where I grown too. Is like, we obviously are entertainers. When I was wrestling, that's kind of what you wanted every time. Is you every hit, every slam, everything mattered. And if they didn't react to it, then you're doing something wrong, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what y'all have to read a lot, and to literally sit in the back of watching y'all grow the past couple of years has been amazing, man. Because it's almost like you train the customer, which I say a lot about, is you train the customer to like follow your energy. And
Mm-hmm.
I can't even do that when I'm sober. Like, but to everybody comes with a mindset to y'all's events, like, I'm about to have a good time.
Yeah.
Because they know what's going on, right? And I think that's so crazy because I don't know what you're thinking right now. I don't know what you're thinking right now. I don't know what anybody's thinking in the room. But all those people know that they're coming and they're gonna get this feel of like,
Right.
we're gonna have this. They're gonna
Mhm.
entertain the shit out of us, man. And
Yeah.
I love that. And I've been seeing that for 2 years, and it's great, man. So
Mhm.
that's really cool to kind of just see how you can read the room and take over, man.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool
thanks.
stuff.
Well, bringing the energy.
Yeah.
It's all about energy, man. That's one thing that people have asked me. What separates you guys from other DJ companies or other DJs or whatever? And it's I always say energy.
Mm-hmm.
Energy. With other DJs, you're gonna hear the music. With us, we're gonna make you feel it. And nothing, to shine away other DJs. Everybody's great at their own craft in their own way. But I remember when me and Jerry started, I was like, hey, cuz we're gonna step out of that facade behind the DJ booth and we're gonna be in the party. So you'll see Jerry, you'll see myself jump off the stage, hold somebody by the arm, come on, let's go party, whatever. And I'll call somebody out, hey, do you have a couch at home? Well, then sit your ass at home. Let's go. It's time to party, right?
Mhm.
Why do you sit all night? You got chairs at your house, man.
Mhm. Are you talking
See,
about me?
He's just texting recommendations for songs. to
Oh,
play or
so
something.
that's what I do. I see you up there, and I'm over here texting you off the wall shit.
Guys, what is one song? What is one song right now that Johnny always messaged you to play?
Whoop that trick.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
Big timers.
Whoop that
So
trick.
one of my favorite movies is Hustle and Flow.
Yeah, hell
If
yeah.
you haven't seen that, that's an underrated movie. Well acted.
Yeah, man.
It's about a guy who's down on his luck. He's trying to find success, and he lives in the hood. He lives in the ghetto, right?
Right.
And I'm not going to say what his profession is, but it's not legal.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's looking for opportunities, kind of like everybody today, right?
Yeah, for
But
sure.
he finds an opportunity with a couple of. There you go.
That's it.
So if you haven't seen Hustle and Flow, check it out. But what I was saying, he finds an opportunity and he takes it with these individuals just inside his house.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And he makes a record and he makes it big, and the rest is history. So it's an underdog movie, and I love it. But it has a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about life, living it up.
Yeah.
Life is great. You living your best life.
Trying.
But let's talk a little bit about death.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are in the insurance injury.
Yes. Business.
Agent, not agent, industry.
Industry.
Okay.
Mhm.
So tell us about insurance and how important and crucial that is.
Oh man. Well, first of all, actually, Jerry started with finance,
Mhm.
and believe it or not, I'll tell you this quick story. I had did some type of a little small insurance policy, investment policy, and mind you, Jerry has been very kind of more frugal or better with his money for sure than I have. So,
He's been cheap.
well, he's been selective with his purchases. He's been selective with his purchases. For me, I'm just like spend it, can't take it home.
YOLO.
Yeah, man. And we were in Vegas one time at a convention, and I wasn't even part of the convention. I just went up there because I had some friends up there, and we're in the VIP room. And believe it or not, I was going to pay for the VIP room, right? Because that's just the kind of personality I have. And Jerry actually got it, and he says, "No, cuz I got it." And I was like, "Damn, what?" And for
You got it
me,
like that?
I was like, "What, cuz you're going to pay for this?" And he was like, "Well, actually, you paid for it." And then I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Remember that policy you did?" And yeah, he said, "Well, I made, such and such money off of it." And the money was it was pretty significant. I want to say it was like almost $2,000. And I was like, "How? How did you make $2,000 off just a little policy? I was paying like $180 a month or something." And then he broke it down for me, and I was just like, and in the middle of a VIP club in Vegas with everything going around, we were legit talking about insurance. And I was like, "All right, that's the deal." And then when I came home, started studying, and about 4 to 6 weeks later, I was already my own insurance agent. And man, so we've been doing it. But to circle back to the question, why? I get pissed off when I see all these GoFundMe's, barbecue plate sales, Mexican food plate sales just to pay for a funeral. For me, why? That is unacceptable, especially for the Latino community. So that's what was my biggest push. That's why I wanted to get in, to help people and educate them to stop doing that. Leave a legacy for your family, you know, and that's my main purpose of doing this, is to help people not do GoFundMe's for a funeral. If you can do GoFundMe, maybe it's for like medical issues or whatever the case is. But man, for GoFundMe's for funerals, for me, that's just that's a no-go.
There's no excuse for not having life insurance,
No
especially
excuse.
because we're all going to die. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
One of us is next,
Mhm.
right? So there's going to be a funeral.
Yeah.
But if you have life insurance, it just makes everybody in that circle that you've left behind it easier for them to carry on.
Yeah.
You don't leave a burden, and you can leave some money for them and
Absolutely.
things like that.
Mhm.
Right.
So I know there's been instances, we've chatted before,
Yep.
of veterans not having life insurance.
Yes, or
right?
waiting till they get out.
Right. So I know like I said it before,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna tell veterans out there: do not wait until you retire or get out to
Yeah.
get life insurance.
No
Get
way.
it while you're in.
Yes.
It is so important. It's going to be more expensive whenever you retire. Your policy is going to be way higher.
Yeah.
Get it while you're in. Take care of yourself. Make sure your family's taken care of. It's so crucial.
Why wouldn't you get it while you're in there? I mean,
So that's a
you're
good
like
question.
you're fighting. You're about to. It's possible for you to go to war.
Oh, no, they
I mean,
have
right?
it.
So
Like,
they have it
battle?
when they're in.
Yes.
All right. They have something called SGLI.
Yes.
All right. Service members.
Group life insurance.
Group life
Okay,
insurance.
so it
Okay.
basically only lasts while you're there, though, right? Is that
Once you
something
get
like
out,
that?
you have about a year
Yeah.
to get another policy
Mhm.
from somewhere else. Now you can still get one from the military, but you need to get one way before you retire.
Yeah, you need to get an individual plan.
Yes.
An
That
individual,
has
okay.
nothing to do with the military. And the reason being is because usually when you get out, I myself, I'm a disabled veteran. So whenever you get your diagnosis, that obviously plays against you when you get your health rating.
Mhm.
If you get your life insurance in place before you start receiving all your diagnoses and all that good stuff, all that, tough stuff, I'll say, even like a PTSD diagnosis, if you get that, it doesn't matter if you're in the best health possible, the best rating you could be is a number 4, right? Best is number 1. If you got a PTSD diagnosis, you're not going to do better than a 4, no matter what. So that increases your premium tremendously, especially if you're paying over 20, 30 years. Man, you just wasted all that money. You could have just done it before you got your diagnosis.
So if you're young, you really want to. You're investing in yourself, obviously, right? Too,
Yeah,
but
you're
like
saving money
that's what I liked about my
Yeah.
brother getting into that stuff too. Like, you just got to get there early, man.
early.
Because you know what,
Jerry could tell you.
right? The two things, to keep it simple: age and health are the biggest factors. Not only comes with the life insurance, a lot of other things. Had we started doing certain things when we were a lot younger, we would have progressed a lot further than where we are at today, health wise.
Absolutely.
Take care of your health a lot younger, earlier, and it's all about developing habits, right? And I'll say this in regards to the whole insurance thing, as you were talking about, like, well, what led you to get into it? And very simple. I had a close mentor that I partner with now in the business out of Atlanta, and we were talking a couple weeks ago, and he just said this, and it struck me. He said, "Money is an equalizer." I grew up poor to teenage parents. Jesse and I are second cousins.
Mhm.
Our parents were extremely close. We didn't grow up, with the silver spoon. And the thing is like, when you have money, you don't necessarily have to be greedy, but it does open up doors and gives you resources
It does, man.
for different things that in life are going to just help you either get to a better place personally, for your family, for your business, for your community. And so that's a big part of it for me, is just helping, like, one, financial literacy, because I had to learn, I feel like, a lot of that on my own. Like I said, I love being a student. So I've had great mentors around me. I kind of looked at people as like, okay, they've got a lifestyle or an income or doing something in their life that I desire or I want. What are they doing? Part of that was just saying, okay, they've got a financial plan. They've got a financial advisor. Or I've been, what I say, smart enough to be dumb enough to just listen to those people.
Right.
Like, okay, that's what you said. I was a young dad at, 21. When I was 24 is when I got my first financial advisor, close friend of mine. And he introduced me to life insurance, said, "Man, something happened to you right now. Your 3-year-old daughter, you bought a brand new house. You're doing very well in the car industry at that time. What's going to happen?" And I was like, all right, So you take action, right? You take action. So that's what I always share with people. My philosophy is everybody has a financial plan, but not everybody has a financial plan of action. And that's what I do. I help people with a plan of action.
Yes.
So you said something earlier, PTSD. I know you don't have to be in the military to have PTSD. So that is a real thing.
Yes.
We hear about people committing suicide and under stressful situations. They act sporadically, and you don't know what somebody's going through.
Yep.
And where there's so many variables in people's lives, how do you stay mentally tough? And I'll ask you, and then I'll ask you.
You talk about in regards to life insurance?
Just how do you stay mentally tough? Nothing to do with life insurance. Just
staying mentally tough. And for me, look, man, I know people see me as a happy and Mr. Energetic, man. I'm human. I promise you, I have fallbacks.
Do you stress out?
I don't know if I stress out, but I get stressed. But one thing I will do is slow down. Even though I'm like boom, 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 boom all the time, when it's time for me to slow down, I will legit just wind down, watch the show. But my advice to anybody, if you feel stressed, just slow down. Just take a breather, take a relax, think about your own thoughts. And one thing I got is a fish tank. A fish tank helps me wind down.
You just watch the fish?
Just watch the fish,
What kind of fish you have?
I have all kinds of tropical freshwater fish.
You got shrimp?
No.
You got the bottom feeder? You have to have a bottom feeder.
I pretty much have everything. I have shark fish, I have angelfish, I have cichlids.
It's like freaking Finding Nemo in your house.
Yeah, it really is. Like if you come see my fish tank, people are like very impressed.
It is really nice. I've seen it.
But it helps me like, wind down and relax. But that's my advice to anybody. If you feel stressed, slow down. Even when I'm asking people when they're about to speak, when they give their speeches at weddings, because obviously we got to give them our microphone, and they're nervous, and I'm like, hey, look at me, slow down. And
you get them by the head like this.
Yeah, I went to a combat dive school, man, and my instructor told me that because I would go in the water and I would get nervous when I had to do all these underwater exercises under stressful conditions, and I would panic. And he's the one who taught me that slow, smooth as fast, and he made me say it 100 times before I got back into the pool. And when I got back into the pool and did my exercises, easy peasy, right? It still sucked, but it was less sucky,
Right.
I could actually accomplish the goal. But anyhow, that's my advice. Slow down, man. Just relax. And obviously, working out is another thing, right? Jerry works out all the time, so he's pushing me to work out all the time. And if you work out, boom, you work out, that helps you relieve those stress that you might have building up inside. But
so I've seen you guys at the gym.
Yeah.
And when I see you guys lifting those heavy weights, I gotta like kind of size y'all. I gotta be like, okay, now I gotta be over here and at least pretend I'm lifting these heavy weights.
Because I weigh 200 plus, bro.
When I was younger, I used to lift a lot of weights. As I get older, I can't lift as many or lift as much.
Yeah.
But how do you relieve stress?
Yeah. Well, think about I love that question though. First of all, staying mentally tough, and I will say this. Over the last couple of years, I've spent a lot of time going inward more than looking outward.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that's what works for me is learning myself. I find that too many people, they get mentally challenged or deal with the stresses because one, they just don't really know how to maintain a level of self-control.
Right.
And I think that's for me is as I learn myself, like, hey, what really truly does help me? What am I doing that's causing these problems? Whether it's an environment I'm in, the way that I'm thinking, people that I'm around. So as I've learned that more and more, and I break it down to two simple things, like I said, I love personal growth, following that. But, when you know what your values are and what your belief system, it's very easy then to stay in alignment or say, you know what, this person that's stressing me out doesn't really align with who I am. What does that matter? Or that very sensitive topic or conversation that's coming up, I'm not going to get all riled up over it. I'm not even going to worry about it. You know what? And then really ultimately coming around to it, man, I've gone through significant challenges in my life. And yet I'm like,
did they make you better?
I'm still here. Absolutely. I would say that's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, the worst years of my life were the best years of my life.
Absolutely.
That's where the most growth happened.
Explain.
So, I've been divorced twice. I was a young dad at 21.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the recession back in 2008. I was working with Ford. It was like a difficult time just trying to make ends meet, making $11 an hour when I left that job. I had a mortgage, had a daughter to take care of. And I was just like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen now? And, and it's like, even if the worst case scenario, my house would have got foreclosed, you know, what I needed a roof over my head, there would have been a means to take care of that. Like I would have been okay. But as I look back at that year, going through life struggles of separation with her mom, a divorce, you know, a recession I had no control over, dramatically losing income, things of that sort. I was like, you know what? Like that actually, what I say, one of my personal values is making friends with fear. You know, we can be fearful of something and run away from it, or we can go face it and be like, okay, now I understand it. When I see it again, I recognize it for what it is, and it just made me that much better. And that's exactly what it did. You know, going through moments like that, I was like, you know what? I'm never going to be in a situation again where external environments control my life. So what am I going to do about it?
Because now you're more aware, and now you're ready.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
You're more mentally tough.
Well, and one a big part of that, you know, that's why I'm a big advocate. We are of having multiple streams of income. And you see what people are going through now. When the pandemic hit, they lose a job and it was their only source of income.
Yeah.
You know, inflation's happening over this last year, and people are like, man, it's getting more expensive to live. Well, not if you had other sources of income, other means, higher skill set, improving your life. You know, so absolutely, those tough years were the best years, man.
Yeah.
So you said multiple strings of income.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer. As a business owner, you have to have multiple streams of income, number one, but your businesses need to align and they need to work independently, but work as an ecosystem. They all need to feed each other.
Yeah.
Right. And I can do a whole bunch of different scenarios and give nuggets on that. But make sure if you're a business owner thinking about how should I start? How should I do this and that? Make sure you have independent businesses, and I said it with an S.
Yeah.
That feed off each other and feed into your primary. Like an ecosystem. Like if you're in the jungle, you got the elephant living with the hyena, living with the rabbits. They all live together in one ecosystem.
Yeah.
So what do you fear, man?
Yeah. So what do I fear?
What do you fear?
You know, as I shared, like with myself, most importantly, and I remember specifically talking about this. One of the biggest things I fear is getting to the end of my life feeling like I didn't make the most of the time that I had.
So you live with precision. You live deliberately.
I feel like I do. I feel like I live with a lot more clarity and intention on just the things that I want, where I want to spend my time, or what I want to pursue, because I don't want to, you know, as you talk to most people when they get to that stage of end of life, you know, they're not talking about the things they did, but the things they didn't do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The regret.
Yeah. And so that's one of the big things I fear. I'm just like, and you know, now I just turned 38 the other day, and I was sharing with Jesse, actually, I was like, dude, we are legitimately halfway through our life in terms of life expectancy, especially for Latinos or Hispanics, right?
Yep.
And I was like, man, if that doesn't give you urgency to go out and live your best damn life, like, I don't know what is.
Too many people cut themselves short.
Yeah. And I'll say this because I want to put some context around that. When somebody says fear, like, now I don't take it in a sense of like, man, what do I fear? And they're like, man, I'm scared of that. But fear in a sense of, you know what, like I said, now I want to move forward. I want to press in. I want to go after it. I'm like, you know what, if I fear that, it's going to move me to take action. Like, and I'm like, all right, I want to go do something about that.
What does MC Jesse fear?
Believe it or not, I fear, man, being alone at the end, right? And I will tell you this: a lot of people will say, "Well, Jesse's positive, and you know he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do anything." One thing I have made a lot of mistakes on is my failed relationships, all because of me. I can tell you that either I was too into my business or into my craft, and I just didn't care about the person I was with, or you know, just wasn't responsible, wasn't mature enough to handle the relationship at the time. And that's why I'm in the situation I'm in now, where I have kids and I'm not with their moms, or even, you know, in my relationship now. So I'm single. And that's one thing I actually do hate, because I actually am.
Ladies, you're single.
Junkie. Yeah, I'm single.
You just announced that.
You know, that's one thing I do hate, because I want to build with somebody, right? What's the point of me making all this money or trying to be successful and take it to the next level and level up, but I have nobody to share it with, right? I'm not worried about leaving something for my kids, because I already make sure that's my one of my biggest goals in life is, if I pass away any day, there's going to be a lot of money from my life insurance and everything I've done to make sure my kids are taken care of, right? I mean, even in my life insurance alone, I have 1.375 million. So nobody kill me, right? But I have that set aside for my kids, for my, my mom, if something were to happen to me, to take care of everything, my dad. But that's one thing I kind of scared about, is just ending up alone, right? Because I'm already 39. Still, I haven't got married and whatever the case may be. But I do want to circle back to something that we were talking about being at those lowest moments that define you. For me, I am, man, living proof of that. Let me tell you why. Whenever I was in 11th grade, the terrorist attacks happened, right? Of September 11th. And that was probably the lowest time of my family's life ever. We only had $12 left to our name. And I basically talked my mom into putting those $12 into a business and starting tacos. And I sold 36 tacos the first day, cold and soggy at school. But the reason she got laid off is
You
because
were
she made
hustling at
fiberglass.
school?
In school, yes.
Okay.
She made fiberglass. And if you remember, all the aircrafts were downed at that time.
Yep.
So she was crying. She was stressed out. My dad's money was for bills, mom's money for expenses. We never were rich. We were very, very poor. And with $12, we started Lupe's Tacos, basically. And it was the lowest moment of our lives because we had nothing. And we legit forced us to get into that moment, right? And I had started the idea because I was making $100 a day at school selling tacos. And then finally I got shut down by the school for health code food violation and whatever. It's a long
Let me see
story.
your permit. Did
Yeah.
they say that?
No,
Exactly.
they said that. The principal called me in the office over the PA, and she says, "Jesse, you're a great student. Everybody loves you, but if one of our students gets sick from your tacos, like, we can face a lawsuit." So she's like, "So you need your food handler's permit license. If you're going to continue to do this, you need $250 a week paid to the school." And I was like, "Yeah." She told me that.
Did they think about hiring you after you graduated to
listen.
go work in the kitchen?
She said $250 a week. And I said, "Why I got to dedicate my money to school?" And she said, "Because listen, Jesse," and I never forget this. She said, "School is a business. You're taking from our school cafeteria when you do this." I said, "Okay." So we stopped. Eventually, my mom got called back into work. And guess what? 2 weeks after I stopped selling tacos in school like a drug dealer, boom, guess what? They started selling tacos of their own.
You
at
were
the
a
school.
taco dealer, man.
I was a taco dealer. Yes. But the point is that the darkest moment of our life forced us into that situation.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then I had already gave my mom the idea. She had the craft. She had the talent to do it, and she still didn't do it. And guess what pushed her? She was at that same fiberglass company. She was leaning over making fiberglass, and her boss went up to her and pushed her lonjas. For you people who don't speak Spanish, that's your love handles.
Yeah, I got.
She
those.
said he told her, "Hey, push that back inside," and she felt so played by that. And my dad was so pissed by that, he wanted to go beat his ass right then and there. And guess what? She quit that day.
Yeah.
And that right there led her to realize she needs to do her own thing.
That was a defining moment.
That was. And that's what happens for people. Even when my parents' house burned down in 2006, they lost everything to the name. There's no baby pictures of me. We probably have like 7 total. And my mom used to have albums and albums and all my accomplishments as a kid. I used to have this big wall with all my certificates and achievements and
100 tacos sold. You have that one?
Shining star, everything, right? Everything burned to the ground. Everything burned to the ground. Everything. They lost every bit of clothes. They had nothing to their name.
Mhm.
And guess what? That right there was the best moment of my parents' lives, because it even forced them to even push more into entrepreneurship.
Right.
And now my parents are going on 19 years of never having to work for someone else.
That's amazing.
Ever.
Mhm.
So the lowest moments of my life so far have been by far the most defining in my life. Yeah.
So not to make light of that, what her boss did to her,
Mhm.
but I need to tell J-Rock, hey, push in your longhorn
Yeah.
because I need him.
All 4 of them.
What?
You know what I
Pushing
mean?
my long. What do you mean? Hey, I've been grinding, man. What?
I love that story.
Yeah, that's a true
100%.
story, man. And,
So-
and
That was deep.
What do you say to somebody? Because everybody had that moment, like
Yeah.
as a kid, and I might be just speaking about where I might be growing, but somebody always has that moment. But we happen to just see it a little differently, and we jumped on it. Like we figured out, like, oh dang, like I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make something out of it. Where did you get that from? Like, was it something that you grew up with, something that you saw? Like, what is it that just made you go? Because this goes farther. Because I wanted to say this earlier, I didn't want to interrupt. But even with Jerry, man, like there was times where I really didn't want to be around Jerry.
Mhm.
You know, and
I still don't.
And I was growing up just being around certain things because we all were just in our own phase of life.
Yeah, for sure.
And we don't know that until we started talking about it, you know? So when did that, how did that click in, you know, like that moment? Because not everybody's had that, but nobody jumps on that wagon to utilize
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I think for me, man, I learned their approach. Take the Nike approach. I learned that, and somebody drilled it into me actually. And
Sweatshops?
man, just do it. Just do it, man. That was my mentality forever. And believe it or not, if for me, I would think dance because I started dancing at the age of 4. You know, my homegirl Sharita got me into dancing, and we did talent shows forever. And we would practice in her garage in my house. I would dance everywhere. So dancing gave me the confidence, right, to go out there and do different things. And then sports, when I got into sports, I don't know if you guys remember two-a-days, but that was hard. And that two-a-days and the dancing, that actually really molded me for my whole life. Because, you know, my brothers don't dance. Nobody in my family is a performer. Nobody has ever in my entire family ever been on stage as far as performance wise. So I'm the only person, but I really think that being taught just do it at a young age. My dad would always say this. This is funny. He'd always say, Miko, what does number 2 mean? And I was like, well, to shit, Dad. And then he's like, what does number 1 mean? I was like, to piss. He said, Miko, why be number 2 when that means shit, when you could be number 1 and piss everybody off?
Boom. Boom. Can we get that on our banner or something?
He would tell me that.
Man, I need to. That's we'll talk after the podcast. I want to get that.
And he would tell me that. He said, Mijo, number 2, you always got to be number 1. He'd always tell me.
That's right. That's right.
And
Piss on everybody.
yeah, he'd always tell me that. And, you know, my dad, man, he has a lot of sayings. Another saying that he taught me is sometimes life is like a slingshot. The further back you go only means further your flight.
Boom.
I love that. I love that.
Where did you get that from?
He just comes over. He just be like, Miko, let me tell you something, you know. But for me,
while listening to Willie Nelson,
yeah, and that's what he always taught me. And man,
That's
I just
awesome, man.
and not only that, my mom's a hustler. You guys know my mom.
I know.
Oh, hell yeah, she's awesome.
My mom's a man,
Great
she's a hard
tacos, by the way. Great
The
food.
best
You got to
tacos.
get after the best tacos,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Lupus.
Hey, but J-Rock,
do you want to give a plug?
Oh yes. Hey, don't forget Lupi's Tacos, man. It is by far it's actually one of the highest rated stars in of all of New Braunfels area for all Mexican restaurants, like 4.78 stars.
Hey,
It's
okay.
yeah, and we've been around for a long time. We don't even advertise, small little spot, but man, I tell you what, the food is fabulous. Homemade tortillas,
Mhm.
and I'll tell you our secret. I've never said this secret before.
Uh-oh.
People always wonder how is our dough so fluffy? You got to let the water evaporate for a little bit from the masa. Don't just grab the masa right away and start making it. Wait a little bit. Wait for that water.
So you just gave a golden nugget to
Yeah, man.
everybody, man.
Take it.
you can do that at home. So
Yeah, what would you say, Jay?
I wanted to share this. You asked that question, and it had me thinking about
Yeah.
that. And I love this because we get one of the questions we get most often is people are like, "How is it that y'all work together? Not only DJ and MCing, but we have multiple business legally together, right?"
Yeah, 3.
But you know, as J-Rock, you were asking that question. You know, the thing that came to my mind is this quote is, "The problem is the way that we see the problem."
Mm.
You know, and I love one of my favorite
Yeah.
books is Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And they talk about that quote. The reason I mention that is one of the things I feel I do well is critical thinking and just seeing things in ways that other people don't see, and I find solutions, right?
Mhm.
And so when people ask us and others are kind of like, man, we see Jesse's personality, his skill set, and they've asked him, it's like, why Jerry? What about him? You don't need him, whatever. And it's just, man, we have such a yin and yang. I feel like my critical thinking and being able to see things or put things in perspective, and we just bounce ideas off of each other. And it's just like, I didn't even think about it. I didn't see it that way if it wasn't for your input or feedback. Same way with Jesse. Run something by him. He's like, well, what about this? And he kind of puts the Jesse on it, right?
Right.
And it just flows and it works.
I don't remember what weekend it was, man, but y'all killed it one weekend, which happens a lot. Like I said, I can't remember which one it was, but I remember like just there being like some type of pause somewhere, and I know Jesse was DJing, and Jerry was barely starting getting used to being an MC, and Jesse goes, "Man, just give him a little bit of time, J-Rock. He's gonna catch on."
Mhm.
And it was funny because we talked about this last night because I hung out with Jesse. Jerry catches. I had to be patient with this. Jerry catches on so quick, and then next thing you know, he's killing it.
Yes.
Like he just learns how to just adapt and attempt and it fucking works all the time.
It does, man. And I'll tell you all this, and I will say this. I've said it before. I have trained lots of MCs, right? And I've trained some MCs that no matter how hard they try, they're just not good at it. And I've trained some that are badass, right? Shout out to my boy Rico and Video out there in New Orleans, right? But man, I tell you what, I've told Jerry several times, if he was with me in New Orleans, it'd have been, man, talk about killing it, right? I not once in my entire 16-year MC career as one of the main MCs in New Orleans was I able to get off the stage and go to the DJ booth, even though I could play the music. But I always had to be on stage. It'd have been so great if I could just take a break sometime and be like, hey, swap out with me. Never once did I get to have that. But anyhow, all I got to do is tell Jerry one time, and he'll take it in and he'll reverse it out the way he wants to do it. So that's why we work so great together, because a lot of times I'm like balls to the wall. Jerry, we should do this. We should do everything.
Yeah.
And then Jerry's like, hold on, cuz let's try this, right? So he's
Hey, and you know what's awesome, and I love. Someone asked me this the other day. They're like, "What is your favorite act or set or gig to do in terms of DJing?" I was like, "Our J&J show."
Yeah.
And but there's been so many times now, just because of the way that we ebb and flow so well. I mean, we're just off the cuff, literally. I mean, we have parts that are scripted. We know what songs or cues or things like that. There's a lot of the time where none of that is happening. We're just impromptu.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I'm in Jesse's ear, Jesse's in my ear, on the fly, on stage in front of the crowd. And you would think we've rehearsed that over and over and over.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, but there was just that kind of like synergy, man.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you say that, because when we were on stage the other day, I said something, and it was at prom, I think, at Canyon Prom. It was about, I think it was flowers. I don't know. I forget what it was. But anyhow, I was like, cuz I just made that up. And like, it was so funny because what I was saying, I didn't even think about it, but the song Next Plane actually had the same words to what I just said. And I had played the song right after.
Was
like
it
was
Dreamweaver?
No, I think it was Flowers by Miley Cyrus. I think it was I Could Buy Myself Flowers. But anyhow, man, the point is, like, sometimes I come up with some shit and I'm just like, damn, that was badass. And then the same with Jerry. We did this event. I was just telling J-Rock last night, we did the event at McKenna, right, for the city of New Braunfels. And Jerry, could you reiterate what you said that night? Working for New Braunfels is like, remember?
Oh, yeah. Because we were, I was sharing with the group. I was like, man, I had made a move recently, and I was like, gosh, like, who's going to take care of all these things? Like, handling my trash now, making the move, doing all this kind of stuff. And I was like, sheesh. And then I was like, it's kind of like working for the city of New Braunfels. You really don't recognize how much you depend on a group to take care of all these things until you got to take care of it yourself. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, they had hired Jerry, just a DJ. And then I showed up to help out and everything, because it was a big, and then they also needed him to do
photo booth,
up lighting, and then announcing
all the production for a talent show.
All the production. Yeah. So he's like, cuz, like, we need to provide sound for guitar, for a singer, for dancers, piano. So basically he started talking about how they just started throwing more and more and more at him. And he recircled back. He's like, this is probably what it is like working for the city of New Braunfels. And everybody laughed. Right. And it was all type of corporate deal. But I was like, boom, that's an MC. Being able to just work off the cup. And not only that, throwing some comedy in there to, kind of ease that tension. That is an MC. Right. For me. So MC stands for Master of Ceremony. But, the slang of it, Master of the Crowd. I love to be able to play, Lean Back, Fat Joe, Usher, but at the same time, be able to throw in Madonna or Cher just off the cup. If people don't even know what happened, that's when I try to challenge myself and throw some off the wall songs like that.
You put them in a trance. You hypnotize the crowd.
I try, man. I try.
Where they're like, oh, yeah, I can do that again.
Yeah.
So you guys have a dynamic relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How important in life and in business are relationships?
It's the most important, especially when you're working with family. When you work with family, a lot of times it doesn't pan out that great, right? And Jerry and I knew we were going to do well because we already worked life insurance for 8 years together. Right. And he knows his strengths. I know my strengths. I know my weakness. He knows his weakness. And we just, boom. Right. Yeah. So that's how we know we're going to work. But for other businesses, man, if you don't have that yin and yang, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I was going to say. I was like, relationships are important. The right relationships are important.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just with any nilly willy.
yeah, man. Hmm.
The right, it's got to have precision. It's got to be deliberate.
Yeah.
You got to, I'm a firm believer, surround yourself with people who are going to level you up. And when I say level you up, make you better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we can hang out with people, family. I have people in my family that, I really don't hang out with.
Mhm.
I want to hang out with people that are going to make me better.
Yeah.
And make
Hey,
my family better.
And this is how significant, our relationship, we're cousins, we're business partners, but literally I was, got into a relationship, was dating someone a little while back, and seriously had to tell this person, like, hey, if it interferes with what we've got going on and what we're growing, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, it's straight up. It was
Yeah, I
like,
remember.
this cannot come between us. This cannot come between this, where we're going.
Right.
We start seeing that happening, like, and I know for some people,
for
it's
sure.
like, wow, that's pretty out there. But I mean, that's just kind of where we were. But we knew,
Mhm.
we knew our priorities, we
Mhm.
knew where our goals, the kind of people we wanted to surround ourselves with, like you guys,
Yeah.
and not that we're intentionally saying we're better than y'all. We just know, like, hey, it's where we're headed.
Yep.
That's what we
we're
want to
about.
do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What I think that's like a hard thing nowadays too. Jesse's talking about, finding somebody with being an entertainer nowadays. Some people think it's all flash and all, highlights and all that stuff. But to be able to go through the nitty-gritty of how you're setting up
Mhm.
in between, from Jesse driving from like Houston back to New Braunfels and
Multiple
back to
times.
Louisiana. Me and Jerry are like, dude, that dude's gonna burn out.
Yeah,
But
man.
who can actually deal with that in a relationship? And sometimes I think that's something that we have all had to question ourselves. I told last episode with Johnny and Michael, man, I said, it's our lifestyle is so crazy that I don't think people want to like take the time to fit.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we're just rolling so fast that nobody really wants to, catch up or stay or deal with it.
That's true.
So, but I think at the end of the day, you just gotta. It's good that you put that out there in a way at the beginning because it's
Yeah.
fucking tough, man.
No, it is,
Mhm.
man. And for me, that's why I don't have a relationship because I would say for my two kids, my youngest son and my daughter, like their moms, they like the idea of me being an MC at first, and then once we got like
Mhm.
serious, they're like, "Hey, this shit ain't gonna cut it. Like you come home with glitter on your face every day. I think not." And I would be like, "I'm just taking pictures, right?" You know,
You have lipstick on the collar.
But yeah, they didn't. It's not for
Yeah,
everybody,
that's what it
and they probably wanted more of a 9 to 5 or
Yeah.
and that's never gonna be me.
And that's something I've shared with Jesse as we've seen relationships come
Mhm.
through our life together. I'm like, it's like they like the idea
Mhm.
of
They
Jesse. They
do.
like the idea of Dad DJ and J and J. They like the idea, I mean, of a podcast. I give kudos to you guys, what y'all putting on. Y'all don't see the production back there, but
Yeah.
you know what? People like the idea of like, I want to do something until it involves the work to get it done, right?
And that's a good source to go from here because I wanted to ask you that, like, do you literally got to do what you love, and sometimes you don't know what that is for years.
Hmm.
And again, I was telling Johnny and Michael, like, I feel like I'm just getting started.
Boom.
Like, really feel like
Yeah.
I'm just getting started and I feel like I was playing child play for a little bit.
Yeah.
I really did, man. And that's crazy how I really feel that you have to really do what you love.
Yeah.
It's just, and you'll be able to live happy.
Well,
Anyways.
one thing that's real cool for my life, all of New Braunfels High School, they can all tell you. Every single person that went to school with me, they can all say, Jesse's been doing this since he was a kid. I've been doing the same shit. I've been dancing my ass off. I've been in the spotlight since I was, since I could barely even walk. It's just always been in me. So two things. First of all, it's awesome because I get to do what I love and I've been doing it for so long. Second of all, I feel like, man, damn, I failed because I should be a lot further than where I'm at right now. I should have really capitalized and got a manager and got out and promoted myself. And that's come. I appreciate you guys so much because you guys can help elevate us, right? What good is the show if nobody gets to see it except the people in the room?
Right.
So that's what I always tell J-Rock. That's what I always tell Johnny. Man, we can bring a show, that's for sure. But it's up to you guys to capture it and then we can replay it because what we do is only one night. What you guys can bring to the table is reoccurring for years and years and years. And now I had my boy, DJ Uno in New Orleans, man, he would always tell me, Jess, dude, you got to get out there. You got to promote. You got to social media. You got to do everything. And I'm like, if they want me, they can come get me. They know where I'm at. And I got told repeatedly, why are you here on Bourbon Street? Why are you not in Vegas, right? And whatever. I failed, man, in that aspect. But the cool thing is I do what I love, and it shows when I'm on stage because I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I don't care about the money, but it's awesome to make money. But I've told people all the time, man, I would do this shit for free. I do it. I love it. Like I love doing weddings. I love bringing people together. I love, hyping it up and elevating their event and making everything go smooth. I genuinely have passion about it. I care about it. Even tomorrow, as soon as I get down downtown social tonight, I got to load up all my equipment and I'm heading straight to Lafayette, Louisiana area to do another wedding.
That's that shit I'm talking
Tomorrow,
about.
dude. Tomorrow
Telling you,
for
man.
the Brown wedding.
I'm not doing that.
How do you
You're a
do
better
that?
man than me.
How do I do that?
Yeah,
I'll tell
how
you
do you
why.
seriously do
You
that?
wanna know
bro?
why?
No, not why, but
Oh,
how?
how?
Like physically, how do you do that?
Okay, I think I told Ben this, and I'll say this for those of you guys who listen to Pandora, Spotify, whatever. When you get in your truck or your vehicle, it starts playing, right? And then if somebody calls you, and then you talk for 5 minutes, when you hang up, it goes back to that song. Check this out. I made a trip. It was about 5 months ago. I left from my house at 6 in the morning. I went all the way to New Orleans, Louisiana. I put out a song, and it was actually by Kevin Fowler, and one of Kevin Fowler's songs. And I remember 8 hours later, it was 7 hours and 45 minutes when I got to New Orleans, Louisiana. Guess what? I was on the same damn song. That's how many calls I made. I did life insurance calls. I did catching up with friends. I was on the phone for 7 hours and 45 minutes straight.
Wow.
So when I left my
Multitasking.
house, when I got to New Orleans, it was on the same damn song. So two things. I make a lot of calls when I'm on the road. And second of all, I listen to Pandora. And Pandora, even though I like Spotify a lot for DJ gigs, for learning music, I do Pandora. So I'll go to like R&B, and when I like a song, boom, I like it. And then later on I put it in each folder. So that's how I remember all these songs, and I stay relevant with the new shit because I don't like any of the new hip hop. I don't think many people do. I think it's kind of whack, obviously. Yeah, it's all mumble. It's all mumble. That's all mumble. It's shit. But either way, I still have to learn it. So what I do is I'll put on a new artist, and then I'll just whatever song I think is badass, boom, I'll put to new hip hop. Or whenever I do Tejano classics, I type in Tejano classics. So if you look at my Pandora, I have like 88 folders, and I have all the music. And the reason I make all those music is because I'm driving and I listen to it as I drive. Right.
I love that.
And it's different. I had to tell this guy, he'll be telling me my schedule, and I'm like, Jesse, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
But
Every
that's
single time.
some of the differences between us. I value margin in my life, and a big part of that, for me, it's like, hey, I want to have rest, and rest for me maybe means being able to spend time, with my daughter doing certain things, going to the gym in the morning, if it's 10 a.m., middle of the morning, whatever it might be, going to see my family, and things like that. So, we're kind of built a little bit different, but it works out too, because he travels, does a lot of that. Then I can take care of business back home, wherever we might be.
Yeah.
And then, we exchange, and, we can plan in advance. So it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to start wrapping this up.
Boom.
It's been a pleasure, an honor having you guys here. It's been a pleasure and honor knowing you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Seeing you guys grow, seeing all of us grow together. I think today's show, we talked about value. We talked about brand. We talked about giving back, relationships.
Yeah.
Business, mental toughness. We talked about a lot of shit.
Yeah, we did, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave you with this.
Mhm.
Don't chase money, chase relationships.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
I like it.
That's what I always say. Because when you start chasing money, you get greedy and you start fumbling and you start stepping on your own toes and you start lying and cheating and all kinds of stuff. And people start noticing. And then you start becoming disingenuous.
Yeah.
You're no longer genuine. Now you're freaking money hungry. So when you're sincere and you help people, people notice.
Yeah, they do.
And you become credible. You become a credible resource of information, and you provide value to people.
Yeah.
Well, and to that point, Johnny, I know we're wrapping things up, but when people do ask that question, like, why does it work so well with you guys? And to that point, because it really is not about the money. One
That's
thing
true.
that I know about me and Jesse, we're just like, we're not money hungry, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we love having the ability to have the life that we have. We're grateful for. We have a lot of gratitude. We love to serve, give back to our family, to our friends, to our community. But if it ever was about the money, people tell us all the time, you don't want to go into partnership with them. You don't want to go into partnership with anybody, right? And it's like, well, when you have a common goal and it's not money at the bottom, like we don't deal with the same problems that other people do.
And you're spot on. So I see you dealing with a lot of nonprofits, both of you.
Yeah.
All of us deal with nonprofits, just giving back. It's not that we're asking for anything. Of course, we got to survive. We got to get some income. But a lot of times we don't ask for money on these nonprofits. We've given a lot of pro bono stuff.
Absolutely.
We've given a lot of sponsorships to people, and it definitely shows, and that's why they keep coming back, and they love us.
Yeah.
They love that DJ, and they love what we're doing here.
SPM.
Damn right. SPM, baby.
So Social Plug Media, that's the way to go.
Yes.
The Social Plug podcast, that is. You can find us on socialplugmedia.net.
Look it up.
Find us on any social media platform in existence, even Twitch. We're going to have some live streams. We're going to do a lot of different things. So if you're not plugged into us, you're missing out.
We're gonna need to do a live stream on Twitch on Twitch, with these guys, man.
Absolutely.
They won't kick us off like Facebook will. And so man, yeah. But make sure y'all check us out on YouTube, man. That's where we're getting a lot of love right now.
Damn right.
But show us all over. And Jesse, Jerry, where can we find y'all at, man?
Destin, Florida.
Well, social media jump bro.
Hey, you can find us there. Hey, actually, a lot of our traffic comes through our website, datdj.com, DATDJ.com.
Boom.
You know, we're on all those social media, so check us out there as well.
And also, man, our personal social media, right? I think yours. What is yours? I am Jerry.
I am Jerry Salcedo.
And then mine on my TikTok is Insurance by Day, DJ by Night. That's kind of something that my boy Pete came up with, and I really want to capture that. Like, that's my slogan: Insurance by Day, DJ by Night, because that's for real what I am. So that's my TikTok. That's my Instagram. Even though I'm not really big on Instagram, and I know I should be. Our boy Armando LeDuc is constantly pounding us that like Instagram is the way to go as far as business promotions.
He's a great dude, man.
Man, he's a good guy, man. But either way, I will tell you guys this: I love to do this. Jerry loves to do this, man. We are so grateful that New Braunfels has opened their arms to us and just placed us in this place where we can entertain people all the time. And man, it's a blessing. It's awesome to get called all the time, even for schools. Like sometimes schools will say, "Hey, look, we don't have any funding for this event. Would you volunteer your time?" I'm like, "Absolutely, count me in." Right, as long as I don't have a locked up gig or something like that already, I'm there.
Relationships, connections.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
That's great, man.
So reach out to these guys. Maybe MC Jesse E will give you his OnlyFans or his Tinder.
It's called Only Papas.
Only Papas.
And with that said, the Social Plug Media podcast is unplugged.
Oh,
See ya.
You make me feel the way I ain't feel in a minute. I feel like I'm living when I'm looking at you, baby. Never felt like this before. You gave me butterflies in my tummy like you do.